Well, good evening, Glue Troopers, and welcome back to the TARDIS. I have missed my Fortress of Solitude over the past 4 days. All right, where to begin? I got started on the road builds. Once I got them home, I got some primer on the Testers/Hawk SBD, got started on that. And I went ahead and it broke my heart to do that little crown zero, but I wanted to, since it's the right scale and the right country and right motif and everything, I wanted to go ahead and make it the crashed airplane in the grips of Godzilla. So I cut it up, smoked it, burned it, painted it, and then I wanted to not only make it look like a really bent up airplane, it couldn't be hanging intact, but I wanted to also bend it up where it would hang in his hand without me having to glue it in there. So there he is in the grips, and of course there's not a lot of contrast, but that was actually kind of by design. I mean, I wanted to keep the dark mood to the whole thing. Dun, 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 dun. So, mission accomplished. Also, I got that stand built that Mr. Wagner sent me for the Gundam kits, and it'll be a while before I can get around to doing the Unicorn Gundam that he sent me. And a couple of you folks have already told me that, be very careful with this. It's more complicated than the others, and it's a deluxe kit, and I know it's very expensive and I appreciate it very much. So when I get to this, it'll probably go on the stand, but right now I have the other ones. It really does enhance the posing of the other ones, and I've got them up there with my little kaijus and everything that are out here in the TARDIS. And we have a box to unbox. And this comes from Mr. Stevens in Kennewick, hope I'm saying that right, Washington. And before I open it, Mr. Stevens, thank you very much. So let us see. And of course, as usual, I have cut the tape. I have not looked in the box, and there is a letter. This always helps. Now, when I'm done with this letter will go straight into the manila envelope where I keep them all, because it's the only way I keep straight. I've been trying to keep my Excel spreadsheet that I've been putting together on it, but I'm not a great record keeper. I keep falling behind on that. And then when I get around to them, like, who gave me what? And you guys are so generous that it's hard to keep track. Max, hope all is going well. I had purchased this after watching you build this for your friend. I have come to the conclusion that I'll probably never get to put this together, and I don't have the spot or space to display it properly. Felt that you have given us in your sharing and wisdom during last year. Felt that after all you have given us in your sharing and wisdom during this last year, that it deserved a proper home. Enjoy and never forget, model on, Paul. And it is, okay, I'll have to take a picture and show you. It is the Stagecoach, but it's not in the box. The parts are loose in here, but it is the Stagecoach. And interesting, everything in this one is molded in white, even the Stagecoach. There's the reins, which are black, the reins, but I have no idea when this production run was shot, but it's all in white, everything, and it looks to be complete. I didn't even know they did them in white. Well, Paul, thank you, and I think I know what I'm going to do with this one. I'm just this subject to change. I'm just spitballing. I'm going to do the opposite of what I did with the last Stagecoach and the Felix Stowe. I'm not going to build it through as a burn-through build. I'm going to find a place to put it where I can do it in bits and pieces as time goes by. Because, as you mentioned, this thing's 2.5 feet long when it's done. I'm not sure where I'll display it. The Felix Stowe is on top of one cabinet, and the Godzillas are on the other one, and then the rockets for the right. So it's on top of the cat. Well, you know what? I'll work it out. But I will get to this later on. I had actually thought about something when I did the other. I was thinking, if you had to make this but wanted to make the diorama smaller, what you could do is build the Stagecoach without the horses, kind of like the front, put it like a facade of a livery stable, and have the horses just nearby, like, in a corral or something, so that you could compress the space if you wanted to display everything, but didn't have 2.5 or 3 feet to display it in. But we'll see. But thank you for that. I appreciate it. I know it sounds like I'm joking when I say these things. Oh, I wanted one of those because I always do. But I had actually toyed with the thought of getting another one. And you have made it a reality. So, Mr. Stevens, thank you very much. And this will, I am, figure out where I want to put well, I'll do that later. So, there was one other little thing I thought I would talk about. Today, as we were flying our leg home, flying from Syracuse back to Orlando, beautiful day to fly today, and we're just up there midway through a 2.5-hour flight, and my first officer, who had, I think he built some models as a kid, and we were talking about it. He seemed to have some interest. I was talking to him about the Mr. Spock mold and the Aurora files that I did on that. And by the way, I sent Andy Yanchus an email. I haven't spoken to him in a while, see how he's feeling and if he's up to maybe doing another Aurora file at some point in the near future. Although this month is going to be pretty hacked up. My schedules might be shifting a fair bit and not a lot of time off. But anyway, be that as it may. I was telling him about a story that one of you guys told me about back in, I guess it was the 60s, when an international airline pilot who went to Japan a lot would buy a bunch of Japanese kits while he was over there and bring them into the United States. And that was a big deal. You know, if you get top dollar more than anything else, they were just rare. It was just a big deal to have these Japanese kits. And I remember the first Tamiya kit I ever saw in a store. It was either McCrory's or Christo's 5 and Dime store in Quincy, Florida. It was their SU-100 self-propelled gun. And I almost bought it. It was $3, like $3.15. And mind you, we're talking 68, 69, something like that. And I was thinking to myself, you know, when my brother came back from the World Jamboree in Japan, and I want to say in 71, he brought me some a Tamiya. I've talked about it before, that battery powered with the wires, remote, not radio, but remote controlled Tamiya T-34 tank that our friend Doyle, the late great Doyle Pope, made for me, and had the tracks hooked up backwards so it ran in reverse, but it didn't matter. God, I went through so many D-cell batteries with that thing. I remember he brought me a Jet Ranger helicopter, and it might have been ITC, judged by the box art. I'll have to look and see, but ITC was an American company, International Toy Company, or toy company, so maybe it was another brand. I have to look, and I think there was a third kit. I forget what it was offhand, but I can remember how excited 10-year-old Max was to get this, because it was from Japan. It might as well have come in from outer space. And I already knew how good Tamiya kits were. You know, they already had a well-established reputation, even by then, by the early 70s. And I was so excited to have one, which is why I had Doyle do it. That, and I lost the instruction sheet. But also, I just knew Doyle would do a great job. And if I'm not mistaken, that helicopter is the first model that I remember taping off to paint. But of course, I was 10 years old, I didn't know what I was doing. So I taped it off with this heavy Scotch tape that my dad had in the store. And I just used brush applied regular Testor's enamel that is layered on, you know, as thick as pancake syrup. But when at this time, for once, I let the stuff actually harden. And when I peeled the tape, I actually had a clean sheet line. It was the first time I really got a clean line using tape and everything. And as I recall, I did all that before I put it together. And the only thing I did was paint. It was like a police paint scheme. So all I did was, it came in white plastic, and I just painted the blue on it. I didn't get to, it's the only paint I had. But that gave it enough color, you know, to me. I had painted a model. And this would have been after I'd already painted that F5 that he got me, which might have been an ITC kit. I painted that down in his bedroom with his paints. He kind of coached me through it, and I had two colors on that one. I had the brown and the beige and the olive drab, and I think we may have painted the other side gray or something. But that was the very first model I ever painted. But this is the first one I like painted by myself and taped off and everything. And it's just, oh my gosh, I was just so excited. I mean, to have these kits that came from Japan, you know, and as much as I love Monogram and everything, because they were so rare and they had such a good reputation, the kits from Japan had like this magic goofus dust on them, you know. Ooh. And I might as well have been holding kryptonite or a bottle with a genie in it. There was just a mystique to it. The joy of youth when these little things are so impressive. We went to the Tampa airport to pick him up, and Tampa was one of the first airports to have even back then they had the little automatic electric trams that went back and forth that they still have today. And I remember everybody was talking about, oh, you go to the Tampa airport, they have trains that don't have an engineer. I remember we're driving in and we go under and I saw the tram go by. I was like, oh, wow, we live in the future. And the innocence of youth, huh, guys? Probably one of the reasons to still build models. Once in a while, you get to go back there for just a few minutes. It's like getting into an old car, or also maybe with me, also an old airplane. That weird mix of upholstery cloth and motor oil and fuel and sweat. For the good old days. Maybe they weren't as good as, I'm sure they weren't as good as we remember them, but we do remember them good. Guys, take care. Hope you have a wonderful evening. And I'm only home for one day. I don't know how much content, if any more, I'll get out. I'll do what I can. You take care of yourselves. Hope you all had a great Memorial Day, and model on. What do you know? Try to clean these model airplanes and the acrylic, well, what do you know? Try to clean these model airplanes with isopropyl, and I guess they must have painted them with acrylic because it can take it off. At least they're clean now. Okay, I'm off to edit this movie and watch the pilot episode of The Wild Wild West with my wife.